Hi, welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about The Secret Market of the Dead by Giovanni De Feo. The Secret Market of the Dead is a historical fantasy novel set in 18th century Italy, in the southern part of Italy, a town called Luceria, where there are the traditional day saints, your standard folk religion Catholic saints, but also a long-standing tradition of night saints, this sort of strange and magical local folk religion that has the different parts of the night divided and under the rulership of these specific night saints, and then the sort of danger and tremulous possibility that emerges around that. It is just like truly deliciously folkloric, and that dream-like surreal quality of magic in it, of things being just out of reach and just barely within your power to grasp and to hold on to, and to perhaps persist beyond the dawn. Really, lovely and moving stuff. It is also a Bildungsroman. It's a coming-of-age story of a young woman, Oriana, who is a twin. She has a twin brother, Oriano, and their father is a master blacksmith. And we have as a desire in her and a skill, this fascination with making things and with the forge and with craftsmanship and skill, and this growing understanding as she passes out of childhood and into young adulthood that the world is not designed to accommodate those skills and passions in a woman, and that the life that she thought she was destined for as a twin is not the life that the people around her intend for her to live. And so the tension and exploration and forging of the self through that disjunct between the desire and the reality, and the destiny being denied becoming twice as powerful, something that you can grasp for all the harder by virtue of being deterred. And so amid all of this sort of dream-like magic, we have this quest, this deeply personal journey of self-transformation and growth and understanding and personal myth-making that comes about. And also magical talking kitty cats. It had this quality of, things that came to mind for me. Maybe it's that there's something summery and Italianate here on Bar Cart Bookshelf, but Navola, which we talked about last summer, by Paolo Bacigalupi, came to mind, this sort of secondary world Italian Renaissance-inspired fantasy novel. But also, we've got, this dream marquis of cats who's holding this sort of cat parliament with shades of T.S. Eliot's Jellicle Ball. Jellicle cats are small and black. Jellicle cats have moonlit eyes. Jellicle cats that are Jellicle Ball. And The Cat Returns, a film from Studio Ghibli, or the opening of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, where all of the statues of York Cathedral miraculously begin to speak and come to life. That sort of fairy tale, folkloric quality that pervades in, the best way. I mean, it's a nighttime book, so it's not like that heat of a summer nap, sort of haze of dreamlike, more when you wake in the middle of the night and it's 3 and you're disoriented and you're not quite sure what's real and what's not. And in there we find these sorts of spiritual entities that don't have eyes in their faces but have cloaks made of eyes, and wikai, witches and worms, and dreaming cats who are made all the more cat-like by virtue of their dream-like quality. And so, of course, we had to have a drink. Our drink today is the Nocturnal, named for these night saints who exist there in Luceria, who sort of touch upon the world of this very, localized folk religion. And we will begin with 1.5 ounces of sweet vermouth, using Carpano Antica, wonderful Italian sweet vermouth. Got this delightful sort of herbal spiced quality to it, and just very refreshing. You gotta use an Italian vermouth for this. Come on, you gotta do it. So we've got our nice dark sweet vermouth in there. We'll add our modifiers now. For that night quality and that blackberry bramble, we'll get 1/2 ounce of blackberry liqueur. And for that witch-like and magical quality, we'll get 1/2 ounce of strega liqueur, which is an herbal liqueur, sort of similar to a sambuca or yellow chartreuse, sort of in that family of bittersweet herbal liqueurs. We'll get 1/2 ounce of that in there. Has that sort of witchy quality as well. Strega, another one of those Italian words for witch. We don't really see that word in the Secret Market of the Dead in favor of wikai. But, we have this sort of witch-like magical quality here. And strange forging tools, rings made out of water, and castles that fold up into handkerchiefs if you fold them 57 times. That wonderful fairy tale folkloric quality that I just keep coming back to because it wrapped around me like night mist. Really delicious, delicious stuff. And then 1/2 ounce of blueberry grenadine. Have this sort of wine, this Tokay sweet dessert wine that is blue and turns the tongue blue in the novel, and has this taste of what blueberries ought to taste like in the best imagined way. And I think the blueberry grenadine, I love a blueberry just by itself, but I think the blueberry grenadine really captures some of that dream of a blueberry quality. And we've got the recipe for that in my book, Cocktails and Consoles, so you can check that out in the description below as well. So we'll get our 1/2 ounce of blueberry grenadine in there as well. And then finally, a bar spoon of hot chili tincture, because we've got these forge fires, and we'll want to get that heat in there as well, that heat of flame, of fire, of a deep red hammer. Lovely. Then we'll get our ice. We always add our ice last because that's what's cooking our quality. We don't want to find ourselves whisked away to the Secret Market of the Dead and come back to an overly diluted cocktail. And because this is the sort of 18th century, we have this strain also of intellectualism, of the nascent Enlightenment, the sort of rise of Newtonian physics, and this salon quality where we have the interplay of the folk religion and the folk tradition with this sort of Enlightenment philosophy and modes of scientific inquiry that strain through the novel as well. It's just really a delicious piece of work. Lovely. That's stirred. take our julep strainer and strain into a stemmed cocktail glass. Perfect. There we go. And then we'll get a cherry. Got some delicious Italian cherries in our book as well. And we're going to garnish this with a cherry. You can use, a nice Luxardo cherry if you want to be fully Italian. I am using delicious handcrafted local Copper and King's brandied cherries. We'll get our cocktail cherry just on a spear, and get that on the edge of our glass. Perfect. And there you have it. This is the Nocturnal, A Drink as Dark as Night for the Secret Market of the Dead by Giovanni De Feo. A huge thank you to the publisher, Saga Press, for sending me a review copy of this book so that we could talk about it on release day. I had a really wonderful time with this one. I think you all will as well. I've got a link to snag it in the description down below, as well as a link to purchase my book, Cocktails and Consoles, 75 Cocktails and Mocktails Inspired by the Wonderful World of Video Games, including some Italian favorites in there as well. We've got links to various forms of social media, including Blue Sky and Instagram, where there's always a written version of today's recipe. Hit that like button. It makes me so happy when you do. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you never miss an episode. We've got some great books that we'll be talking about here as July continues and we head into August for the summer. Try the drink. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And until next time, cheers.